皆さんまた来てくださってありがとうございます。ということでね、今日はフォックスビジネスにトランプさんが電話でインタビューを受けています。ということで、バイデンのまたダメダメ発言でホワイトハウスが火消しに回ってっていうその同じ質問を今度はトランプさんにしてます。ということで、後半はね、イーロンのこととかいろいろあるんですけど、この今日のトランプさんの回答を聞いて、また日本の人がもうトランプはやっぱり日本のなんていうか他のことなんかどうでもいいんだわって言って嫌いになっちゃう人がいるかもしれないんですけど、私は今日このトランプさんの台湾有事に関する答えを聞いて、なんかこの人すごく理想的な大統領だなって思ったんですね。で、すごく無責任な発言をしたんですね、やっぱりバイデン大統領が。で、バイデン大統領はもう全然置いといて、例えばオバマみたいに何を聞いてもどんな思考なのか全然わからない人っている。意味がわかんない、だからどうするのっていう、そういうなんか綺麗事だけっていうよりは話を聞いてると、なるほどっていう、その綺麗事じゃなくって本当に心から答えてるんだなっていうことが分かることだったんですね。で、その政治っていうか大統領の仕事っていうのは戦争を起こさないように海外と交渉する、駆け引きをする、それに長けた人が一番この国で長けた人がなるべきだと思わせるような回答だったんですね。だから彼的には自分だったらこんな風になってない、台湾も、ウクライナもこんな風になってないから、こんな風にぐちゃぐちゃにまるで小学生にやらせて政治をぐちゃぐちゃになっちゃったのをボンと振られてもどうすんのっていう感じのを受けたんですね、印象で。だからこういうふうにならないようにするのが外交手腕であり、外交能力であり大統領なんだっていうことを感じるような答えでした。っていうことでまた長くなってしまってごめんなさい。どうぞ。
President Biden says we're in this incredible transition from fossil fuels to a green energy economy, and that this transition will make us stronger. How would you get gas prices down?If
he's going to force a transition like that, we're going to be unable to compete with the rest of the world, and we will have a very, very downgraded economy. It's crazy what they're doing. So we can do everything. We have green, we have everything. We have, if you take a look at the oil companies, if you let them go, really let them go like I did, we had cleaner air and we had cleaner water than we have in like 34 years or something.And I let everybody go. And they had to do it in an environmentally safe way, an environmentally excellent way. But we had more oil. In fact, I remember watching your show when we were talking about oil was so low that they would pay you to take a barrel.
Remember that.
Quick hour. Wasn't good for the Wall Streets because you have to actually take the barrel in your back, okay? They didn't want it. Now, that was too low. We got it too low because we would have lost our oil company. So then I got it up. But we had $1.87 gasoline. We had the price for oil was so incredible. We had so much oil. I filled up the National Reserve, strategic reserves, at almost nothing. I paid almost nothing because I did it at a low point. I asked that question. I said, this would be a good time. Now he's taking that, which is just a tiny little Band-Aid, a small Band-Aid actually. Now he's taking that and trying to get gas prices down by going into the strategic reserves that I filled up. It's
crazy.Would you use...
And I have to say this, I mean, it does pertain to your show, but in theory it's not, a lot of people think it doesn't, but it really does. The Russia-Ukraine situation, Stuart, would have never, ever happened. Zero chance under the Trump administration.
So if you were president, Putin would not have invaded Ukraine. He wouldn't have done it. He would have been scared of you because he doesn't know what you're going to do.
Well, I mean, there was no chance. Number one, I was there for 4 years, and he didn't do it, okay? And there was no chance. And I talked to him about it. I'd speak to him about it. I know his intentions. I know he would have liked to have, but he would have never done it under the Trump administration.
When did
Nor
you
would
last
China
speak
go
to
into
Putin?
Taiwan.
Can I ask, when did you last speak to Putin?
A while ago. I don't know. Nothing recently.
But when you were president, I take it.
Yeah, when I was president, sure.
And did you warn him?
Oh, I told him. I said, you don't do it. I'm not going to say exactly what I said, but it was much rougher than I'd like to say on television.
Oh, okay.
But I told him, can't do it. Not going to do it. But we talked about it, and he would not have done it. Sir, he didn't do it. He didn't do it. I mean, the fact is, for 4 years, he didn't do it.
But you
and
actually,
neither did
whilst
China.
you were president...
China's sending bombers over Taiwan all the time.
But whilst you were president, you talked to Vladimir Putin, and you talked about him invading Ukraine, and you told him, don't do it.
Absolutely.
That's accurate?
I talked about him not invading Ukraine. I said, don't do it. No, we had discussions about that, absolutely. He knew not to do it. He would not have done it. Let me put it that way. He would not have done it.
What about...
100%.
Let me talk to you about Taiwan. Do you think that we should defend Taiwan from an invasion by China and defend Taiwan militarily with U.S. troops?
So I heard the statement yesterday, and I think that it was a very bad statement, a very dangerous statement. I think that we should have options. We have to have options. Don't forget, Taiwan takes big advantage of us. They sell us the chips at crazy prices, et cetera, et cetera. So it's got to be a two-way street. They don't pay anything for defense other than they buy some equipment, which is very small amount relatively, and we're supposed to defend, some small area that's right next to China and 9,000 miles away from us. It's hard to defend. But with that, I would say very simply, you don't respond to that question. You say, you never know. I think you should let that just be in limbo. The answer is maybe yes and maybe no, and a lot depends on Taiwan. What are they going to do? I'll give you an example. We're sending $40 billion over to Ukraine, but Europe is doing a tiny fraction of that. Now, they're more greatly affected than we are by a factor of about 200. So why aren't they giving more money? We're giving $40 billion plus. That's actually about $54 billion, because I guess we already gave 14 or 17. So as usual, the United States is the sucker, and the United States is spending 40 plus 14, 40 plus 17. So we're spending all of this money, and Europe is spending a tiny fraction of that amount of money, and they're the one that is truly affected. Now, at the same time, you want to help these people because what's happening is a horror show. It's an absolute horror show.
Okay.
But it's unfair that the United States is paying as usual. And remember this, Stuart, and you know it better than anybody. Europe just totally rips us off on trade. I had it stopped, and it was stopping big. It would have been fully stopped within another 12 months, but we don't ask. Nobody asks.
Have you ever talked to Elon Musk recently?
Not recently, no. Not recently.
Would you get back on the Twitter platform if Musk buys it and reinstates your account? Because Musk has said, look, he's done with the Democrats.
Yeah. He wants me to go back on very badly. I won't, because I have Truth. I have Truth Social, which is Truth. And I think it's better than Twitter, and it's doing really well, as you obviously know. And it's hot. It's a hot one right now. And we watch the bots, and we watch the spams, and we watch all of the stuff. I mean, I think Twitter's got a bad story ahead of it, because he's right. When he checked out, now I don't know, he put up $1 billion non-refundable in theory.
Yeah.
And he bought a lot of stock, and he didn't do the 15 billion threshold or whatever the threshold before you announce. That's a big problem. So I think they all have a lot of problems in that deal.
Have you lost any?
I think that Twitter is a dying tiger. I really do. And I think I had a lot to do with the success of Twitter. When I came up, when I went on, it was a failed company, basically. You know that a long time ago, like 12 years ago.
Okay.
And when I went on, it was like a failed. I got hot, and it got hot, and all that stuff. When they took me off, you take a look at the numbers. People are leaving, and they're going to Truth.
Okay.
A lot of them going to Truth.
I just want to get this in, Mr. President. We've got quite a sharp stock market decline, down about 25-30% since November. Have you lost any money in the market, and do you think this suggests we're going to a recession?
The good news is I haven't lost any money in the market because I haven't invested in stocks, because I don't have confidence in the market right now. I would. I've never been a big stock person, but I've sort of called the markets reasonably well. But I've never been a stock. But, I have a lot of cash. My company is very successful. You know, you read all the stuff. Is he? Isn't he? I don't know. It's a private company. I have a lot of cash.
Is a recession coming?
Company.
Recession coming?
I think so. I mean, I hope it's only a recession.
Okay. Mr. President, I just want to thank you very much for being on the show today. Always interesting.
Thank you.
Always good.
Thank
Hope to see you again soon. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
Thank you very much, sir. Bye.
You got it.